afternoon, evening, wherever you may be. This is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley in the house. OMGZ. As I am waiting to bring in my special guest. And I wanted to just say thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and for your patience. This has been something else. And you have to do it with a smile. You have to do it anyway. You got to do it afraid. You got to do it fearful. You just have to do it. And here we go. So I am so grateful to you all for just with your patience. Things happen. We all know things happen. And I know that that's why everything is all good in the hood. As I promote her from panelist to co-host. And we're going to get right into it. All right, so as I do that, and then we're going to go ahead and live stream, and then I'm going to read her bio. She has some more credentials to add to it, so I'm sure she'll go ahead and correct me on that one as well. But I'm so grateful to have colleague, friend, with cousins outside of a mutual cousin, but I just appreciate Chere Goode, and that we're going to now have this intimate conversation with her in regards to real talk about the pandemic, COVID-19, from her being in a standpoint or in a position of being a frontliner, a healthcare provider in the trenches. And I know that there's a difference between what we've seen versus what she sees. And just really want to say thank you, Chere, for your patience and coming on and being a part of this conversation. So, hey, how you doing?
Hey, how are you today?
Woo! Jesus, you know, I may need a coach. Lord have mercy, but all is well, because
that means this is going to be really juicy. That's all it means.
That's all it means, because Lord have mercy, that's all it means. So thank you so much for this shifting that perspective, just like that. See, you just awesome what you do. All right, so let's make sure that I'm going to do due diligence to you and read your bio, and we're gonna go right into the conversation as I manage the behind the scenes, making sure everything's connected, is preparing, set it out, and then we're gonna go ahead and make it do what it do. All right, everyone. So, Chere M. Goode, recently Dr. Chere M. Goode, is the founder and CEO of Total Harmony Enterprises, Make Me Over Wellness, an exceptional wellness candle company. Mrs. Goode is a wife, mother, and caregiver, as well as the creator of the annual Recharge Health, Wellness, and Fitness Expo. Goode has been a licensed practical nurse, LPN, for over 30 years. Does she look at y'all? Nah, because Black don't crack. And is actually certified in hospice and palliative care, an area she currently specializes in. Goode is a 5-time #1 best-selling international author, speaker, and wellness coach, as well as an American Heart and the Stroke Association ambassador and spokesperson. Known as the Recharge Strategist, Goode teaches professional women strategies for self-care to recharge their mental, physical, and emotional batteries for success in life and business through her 8 recharge pillars of self-care. Mrs. Goode's teachings also emphasizes the importance of self-care to enrich one's life. She teaches her clients that if it looks good, you feel good, so pamper yourself as often as possible. She is also certified in the relaxation techniques of mindfulness and reflexology. She is also an author and founder of the Ladies Recharge movement, where she hosts quarterly events for women to step away from daily duties to perform self-care and have fun with other like-minded professional women. Mrs. Goode has been featured on ABC, Dr. Oz, Wendy Williams, Baltimore's TV 25, Good Day Baltimore on Fox 45, Society Moms TV, Radio 1, WOLB Radio, Impact World Radio, iHeartRadio, and more, the Baltimore Times, Baltimore Flavor Radio, Impact Nation Magazine, and a host of other magazines and media outlets. She has received numerous awards and government citations for tenacity in business. Most recently, she has been awarded the 2020 Women Thriving in Business and one of Baltimore's Women of Passion, Poise, and Purpose by the Baltimore Times. Mrs. Goode's expertise is in the areas of recharge strategies, self-care, stress management, mental wellness, and heart disease prevention that has touched the lives of many all over the world. ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mrs. Dr. Chere M. Goode.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is definitely a necessary topic, especially because of the times that we're in. So
Yes,
let's
yes.
get it in.
Let's get it in. Let's get it in. And I just really wanted to, while I have you, just want to say thank you. First of all, I always like to give backstories, everybody, real quick. And with the fact that with Dr. Goode here, she has been a blessing to me because of the fact that it was a time when I was taking care of my mom. And what was really funny was, or interesting, was the fact that one time my mom's doctor wasn't around. He had the nerve to go on vacation. He wanted to do some type of self-care, I guess. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to go about this. And all of a sudden she inboxes me. She's like, well, you know, I'm a nurse, right?
Right.
I said, oh yeah, shit, you are a nurse. Ain't that something? And let me tell you, we were inboxing each other back and forth, like for a good 45 minutes. She's telling me what to do. Okay, you need her heart rate, you need to go ahead and check her temperature, you need to do this, you need to do that. Like she pretty much was the on-call nurse for my mom on behalf of the doctor, you know, who was out there playing golf somewhere. But she made time. 45 minutes, we were just inboxing back and forth for her to help me with my mother. And I may have said this to you, thank you before, but you just don't know how much that had touched my heart. And
Oh, you are so welcome. That's what I do. That's my calling. That's why I became a nurse, to help people. And if I can just give you some knowledge to help you better take care of someone you love, you know, it was my pleasure.
Amen. Amen. So look, Chere, I brought you on because of the fact that it touched my heart. See, you know, one good turn deserves another. And definitely want, you know, reaching out to you and fellow nurses that I know who are my faithful friends or friends that I grew up with, and knowing, see, from this position as being a therapist myself and counseling people, and just only imagining what it has been like or what it was like for you all going through what you've seen. I mean, Lord have mercy, just reading the posts, you know, I'm one to read every single post, every single thread, because I'm always trying to get the theme or the kind of diagnose it and say, okay, well, what is the bigger or the core underlying precipitating issue going on? And what is everyone saying at one time? And I mean, it was heartbreaking to read how people were like, you know what, I'm really reconsidering being a nurse. I'm reconsidering this whole thing. I have never seen, in my 30 years, I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah,
and
it's crazy. It's really crazy, and it's still going on, even though they're starting to open things up. People think that, okay, it's dying down. We still have astronomical numbers. We're still going in facilities every single day. I mean, like, my hair wasn't like this morning, but from wearing all the PPE, the protective, personal protective equipment, like, you sweat and glam is out the window. Like, I'm smiling behind the mask, you know, and you forget that you can't say things quietly because people can't hear you, so you have to talk louder. People can't see that you're smiling at them, so it takes the emotion out of your work. So we have to work extra hard to be compassionate at this time.
So if you can break it down in terms of what in the world happened, like, you're right, I don't even see much conversation anymore, honestly, as if to make it seem like everything is okay, so for the sake of us being okay with everything reopening. But I'm sure that things are going on. So kind of like just walk us through in regards to what happened, like what are y'all experiencing? Like, this is your platform. Just please share.
Okay. So first of all, I'm a hospice nurse, so we're not even allowed into some facilities, or if we're allowed in limited. Our visitation is limited. So we may only be able to see someone who is actually on their deathbed or actively dying. We can only see them like every 2 weeks. So some facilities are saying, okay, we'll allow you to come, but you can only come once every 2 weeks and only one person can come. So they're not getting all the full care that they would normally get at end of life. That's one thing that's going on. Another thing that's going on, when we're going into these facilities, we have to be geared up with everything. Shoe covers, gloves, mask. We have a shield that goes around our head that covers our faces. We have to have the N95 mask. And I'm telling you, if you have to keep one on for like an extended period of time, it's not comfortable because it's very tight on your face. If it's actually protecting you, it's very, very tight around your nose and your mouth here. If you wear glasses, it's even harder for me because my glasses are fogging up because I'm breathing. So I have to keep tightening up the seal around my nose so that I can see through my glasses, which then makes my passageway to my nose even more narrow than what it already is. And then normally when we breathe out, we're breathing out the carbon dioxide and we're breathing in fresh air, oxygen. So we're kind of like breathing in our own carbon dioxide. So it's not a comfortable feeling. It gets very, very hot. Um, and you just start sweating because it's a lot of stuff. And some of the because the gowns were in shortage, typically we have a breathable gown. Now, because of the shortage of those gowns and the protective equipment, we've had to resort to wearing plastic gowns and plastic raincoats. So with that, can you imagine putting plastic on top of you? You're already in a facility, and I work with the elderly population, so they're always cold. So the heat is always on, regardless of what the temperature is. It's hot in their room. So you're sweating, but you're still trying to be productive, and you're still trying to do as much as you can. So it definitely, you want to do what you have to do, but then it's not that personal touch like it used to be. You can't sit and just hold a patient's hand anymore at the bedside like we used to do. You can't go and kiss and hug on granny like you want to, like we all have our patients that we really love, and we're like, oh, she's my sweetheart. You can't do that anymore right now because sweetheart and granny may be carrying the COVID-19. And then some of the facilities, they have there's nowhere to send those patients that have it. It's not like you can send them to the hospital. So the facilities have made makeshift wards for COVID-19 patients, which sometimes, that ward is divided by plastic. So if you've ever been to like a warehouse or something, they have this thick, like plastic lining, or if you've been to the post office recently, they have that thick lining between you and the person at the post office. That's what's separating the ward, to separate it so they can say, okay, this is our COVID side and this is our non-COVID side. So it's serious. You go in, you're scared to touch anything because you don't know how clean the next person or the healthcare worker before you was that was maybe back there with the COVID-19 patient, and they're coming back out. And if they touch something, they weren't being hygienic and washing their hands aggressively. It's that simple to catch.
Wow. It's like, wow, all I know to do is to say wow. And everyone, I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and if any questions, please put it in the comment section because I'm able to see that, so I can make sure that we get to answer any questions or comments that you have appropriately and accordingly. Please, Chere, what in the world, in terms of, now you've been in as a nurse for 30 years or so.
Yes,
and
30 years.
I remember you were saying something along the lines like, in your 30 years, you haven't seen anything like this before,
No.
And I can't imagine, like, what was this like when now you're in situations, or even know your fellow colleagues in your field, where now you need certain equipment, you need certain things, and now you don't have them, but yet you're still mandated, or you still are supposed to show up and still provide care, with the fact that the possibility that you may get it, or the possibility you may take that and be asymptomatic and go home to your family. Like, if you can help me and help us to understand, like, what was that like for you to have to still do your duty as a nurse, even when you're not equipped for it?
It is very tough. Things have gotten better. I will say that now we do have a weekly allotment that we're given. We have to meet at our offices and get a weekly supply to take with us, but it's still not as much as we used to have. We're used to, hey, wear this gown, take it off, roll it up in between patients. Now it's reuse it if this patient is not COVID positive and you're going in this room, you might want to reuse that because you don't know when you're going to have another one, or you might not have enough. They give you like one a day. If you are with a COVID patient, you are to take that off and put on something new so you can run out quickly. So stressful. I mean, I know I've had 2 good cries. I mean, it's much better now than what it was when all this first hit the fan. But I had 2 really, really good cries over COVID-19 because, again, 30 years, I'd never seen anything like this. It's scary because you don't want to go to work and then bring something home to your family. I'm a caregiver to my mom. She lives with me. And my biggest fear is, oh my God, what if I touch something at work? What if I catch something at work and I come home and now my mom gets it, and she's of the population that's easier to get it because she's of the elderly population. So that was my biggest fear. So I actually got online and ordered my own shoe covers. I ordered some things. I called some family members and friends who I know that are on the front lines that could get me some stuff. I'll swear on the stack of Bibles. I'm not giving no names, but I'll swear on the stack of Bibles. but they actually looked out for me, gave me some N95 masks when our job didn't have any, gave me gloves when we didn't have any, gave me gowns and goggles when we didn't have any. So I'm eternally grateful for people that just loved on me enough to say, look, here I have some. And so many people, like just from Facebook that I don't even know, like made masks
Yeah.
for me and sent them to me in the mail. And like I literally cried because I said, wow, this is like this, it just warmed to my heart how much people cared that you don't even know. So I shared the wealth. I didn't just get it and keep it and be greedy. I'm like, look, I'm helping people. Do you need a mask? If people don't have masks, I've been giving out masks from what I have extra. So just it's definitely stressful because you never ever want to go to work and think, oh my God, I'm going to bring something home. And this is a vicious virus that nobody really knows about because we've been in isolation rooms before. You know, we've dealt with like the vancomycin resistant enterococcus disease. We didn't dealt with staph diseases that are out of whack. We go into isolation rooms, but never ever has it been a virus to this magnitude where we have to really, really do all this, protect ourselves, wear shoe covers, make sure we're covering our faces, our masks, you know, double protecting yourself to make sure it doesn't even get on your clothes, wearing rain gear and not having enough PPE to actually perform your duty and not have to worry. So it's kind of diminishing the care that we can give sometimes because your mind is on COVID-19. Your mind is not necessarily on, I'm here to love on this patient at the same time and give them the care. Your mind is, let me hurry up and do what I got to do, get out of here so I don't catch nothing.
Right, right. And that's real.
That's just real. Yeah. Yes.
You know what? I was going to say, my God, Chere, what did you think? I'm going to assume that you heard stories such as, there's two stories that stand out for me. One was the one nurse who, actually there's a few instances, but one nurse who had decided to bring her own equipment, but I think she was either suspended for that in one of the hospitals in Jersey or something.
Oh, wow.
She was suspended for bringing that her own equipment. I've heard about this other team of nurses who I think either they were suspended for, or again, bringing their own equipment as if they weren't supposed to bring their own equipment.
Right.
Have you heard that before, or have you, like, what's your on that?
I have not heard that because you really want to know my opinion. My opinion is my life means more than my job. So if they wrote me up for that, for protecting myself, I take the write up all day long. Write me up. I'm alive and I'm protected another day to make sure that I can make it home to my family. That's my opinion on it. If you're not providing it, which is your duty to provide it for me, and I provide it for myself, then so be it. Then maybe I shouldn't be working for you.
Amen. Amen. Because someone said that there's, you need to consider the companies and the businesses that you either work for or have invested in your time and your dollars in during this pandemic. Like, you got to pay attention to who's who and how they're really responding and acting to us, where we are the ones that's keeping doors open to a degree, and like, it's all about how things come to a head when we are in situations like this. And I was moved to tears when I heard about the one medical director who has taken her life, because it just seems like it was just so much. What's your comment?
I mean, it's a lot. And she, her and her staff were seeing death every day. When you're seeing death every day, it can take a toll on you. And we didn't get into this line of work or become healthcare professionals to kill people or to, we got into it because we want to save people. We want to make people feel better. Mine is a little different. I want to make you feel comfortable at the end of life now, but before, when I was working in the, in a different field of nursing, our goal is to heal you, to make you better. So to see death all the time. And then she also was encountering inexperienced coworkers that she felt like, man, we killed these people because we didn't have the proper staff to take care of them, and we weren't prepared for this virus. So it took a toll on her, and she probably, was going home and not really caring for her mental state at the same time. You have to de-escalate. You have to go and brain dump, get this off, talk to somebody, do things that, are gonna nurture yourself so that you can be better prepared for the next day. But it's a lot of stress right now on everybody, especially the people that are in it every day that can't even take their mask off. Like I complain about like an hour. I'm like, oh my God, this thing is so hot. But today I had it on for 4 hours straight, and it killed me. I was just like, oh my God, how did the people do this? they had to have it on for 8 hours straight. I empathize with them, even though I'm on the front lines too. I empathize with them. It could always be worse for me. So there's also the stress of not knowing whether or not you're going to have a job tomorrow, even in the medical field. And I know that sounds crazy because you're like, wait a minute, all these COVID-19 cases, they don't have a job for you. I mean, all the hospitals have furloughed staff right now. Why? Because the elective surgeries have been canceled, the clinics are closed, everything's closed. So you have all the staff that works at the hospital, that works in these different areas of specialty. Now they're being furloughed because all those areas are closed. So guess what that means for somebody like myself, who is an extension of the hospital. So GBMC Hospital is my hospital that I work for, but I'm with Gilchrist Hospice. So it filters over to our end. And then, since we're not able to go into the facilities, it looks like you're not being productive as employees. And so they have to look at their bottom numbers too. And they say, okay, so do we have to let some staff go because now we're not bringing in the revenue that we were bringing in? So that part is stressful, not knowing from day to day, are you going to be working or aren't you going to be working? And then they linger it on. They don't tell you like right away, like, okay, we furloughing 5 people or 2 people. They just say, okay, we'll let you know on this date. And then you're just sitting there on pins and needles biting your fingernails like, oh my God, is it going to be me? Is it going to be me? So there's a lot of stress wrapped around this whole situation. And then some staff members have family members that aren't even working. So now they have gone from being like 2 or 3 income households to now it's a single income family.
Right. So the theme, it sounds like, and I thank you so much for just your time and sharing and being upfront and personal about this whole situation. And everyone, thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate your time. The theme that I'm hearing from you is stress, and the overwhelm, and then the uncertainty of what is next. And I wonder, as the segue in talking about mental health, because this is what the conversation is also about, doing this overcoming during and after the pandemic webinar series this month, may be mental health month. So definitely wanted to jump in on this and take advantage to help people with their mental health. And this is your field as well, not only just being a nurse, but also being a wellness coach. And you said it earlier, but of course I want to put you out there in the front. Like, how are you doing with your mental health, ma'am?
Actually, I'm doing pretty well. Like I told you, I had those 2 good cries. My first one was ugly. It was what they call the ugly Oprah cry. My first cry was really ugly. And I had never, ever experienced like feeling like that. Like I didn't want to go to work again. And I love nursing. Like anybody that knows me, I've been dressing up as a nurse since I was in pre-K. That was my career day outfit. A nurse. I'm going to be a nurse. And when I was 17, I became a nurse. So I didn't want to go to work, just out of fear of bringing something home to my family. That was the biggest thing. And then just watching on the news how many people died. And so I had to unplug. I literally had to unplug. I couldn't watch the news every day. So instead, because I was going out on the front lines, dealing with it at work, and then coming home and dealing with it, watching it on the news. So I had to unplug. So I just stopped turning TV on. I did moments of stillness, moments of silence, meditation, drinking my hot green tea, and just relaxing and doing things that I enjoy. And that's what I think everybody has to do, even whether you're in the healthcare arena or not. You have to have those moments of stillness, that relaxation, that meditation time. And then I started channeling that energy to doing positive things instead of just being stagnant and stuck. I started opening businesses. I started reading more. Yeah, I started getting certifications. I started doing things that were going to be productive. So when we get out of this mess, I'm ready. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go.
After the pandemic, you're already ready. I see you.
Yes.
Too. So good deal in what you were doing, and that you made the decision to not stay stuck or stay stagnant and allow this to consume you or to succumb to it. So I hope you are all listening, everyone, that even for someone that is a frontliner who is, in the trenches, like Chere is, like how she is now fighting this, but also knowing now to when to unplug, when to now regroup and recenter, so that now she can be her best self, not just to go back out there, but just being the best self for herself. And I hope that you two all can apply that as well. Then the next thing is then Coach Chere, now this, because you're a nurse, you're wellness coach, it's all these things that you're doing. Any tips or suggestions in terms of how can people now take this opportunity to regroup and recenter and to get themselves, mentally healthy and holistically whole This is your
Absolutely.
way.
Absolutely. Like one of the biggest things I would advise people to do is have a gratitude journal. Because when things are rough and we feel like it's the end of the world and things are just not the way we want them, we have to refocus. We have to go back to what makes us happy, what makes us feel joy. And so having a gratitude journal where you're writing down every day at least one thing you are happy for. First of all, just being grateful that you're alive and you don't have COVID-19, or if you did have it, you're overcoming it. So, at the rate that COVID-19 is spreading, we have to be grateful that, okay, I woke up, I'm healthy, I'm able to move all of my limbs. If you are, I'm able to get up and make a decision to learn something new. I'm able to make a decision that, hey, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna protect myself. So find the little things to be happy about and write that down as something to be grateful for. Your family, if your kids and your family is protected and safe and alive, those are all things that we want to be happy about. And just the fact of having a mere meal, because they had recently on the news today, there was like a beltway full of cars waiting in line in Texas for food. So it's real out
Wow.
here. It's really crazy. So we take little things like, oh, I can go in there and make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. We take those things for granted because we're so used to having it. But when you don't have it and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to feed my family of 4 or 5 or 6? And you find yourself having to sit hours in a line to get food. I mean, we're supposed to be the richest country in the world. So it's
Right.
disturbing. It's very disturbing, but just be grateful for the little things. If you have a meal in your closet or in your cabinet or your refrigerator, that's something to be grateful for. So just that, unplug from some things. When you notice that the news and things are starting to get to you, you're starting to feel the anxiety from the news, the depression and things like that. Stop plugging in, remove yourself from those situations. And so that's what I had to do, because every day I was just sitting there stuck in front of the TV, like, oh my God, look, and I'm crying, oh my God, and so you end up getting stuck in that rut of depression and sadness, and then you're running to it instead of running the opposite way.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So run the opposite way. Turn that TV off. Don't look at the news. Yes, stay informed, but maybe listen to it on the radio instead or something like that, because it can just become overwhelming.
And that's awesome that you say that, because see, once again, because especially for you and other frontliners, it's like
Yeah.
y'all played it, and we were
Right.
at home, and then you're again watching it,
Right.
like, oh my God, there, and you're like,
Yes.
oh my God, at
Mhm.
home watching it. But as we had talked about, and everybody who has been following this Mental Health Month, and with the webinar series, we talked about that,
Right.
about being careful about how much you now consume. What kind
Mhm.
of diet are you, managing in terms of your social media
Yes.
diet, your media
Yeah.
diet, and you
Mhm.
have to make a decision based on how it's impacting you, just as much as how we take on certain foods, which that is again in Chere's lane, of expertise in her wheelhouse, and talking about the physical health and what we do put in
Mhm.
our body. It's the same thing when it comes to our mental health. What are you
Right.
consuming and putting into your mindset, into your ears,
Yes.
into your mouth? As well, so that you can now see how it's impacting you. If it's impacting you negatively, then perhaps you should consider, less of what you're putting in, so that you can now manage and control. Because this is about a fight for our control as well. This is exactly why we have been so overwhelmed, because of the fact that we felt that there has been a loss of
Right.
control over so many things. So look at what you can control, so that now that puts you back in the driver's seat. At least that will boost your motivation and interest to get to the other side.
Yeah. And
Any other?
also and also like positive affirmations. We hear all this stuff all the time, but oftentimes we don't practice it. So
Right.
positive affirmations, telling yourself, I am resilient. I will make it another day. I will not allow this situation to shape the rest of my life. I will take control of my emotions. I will remove myself from this anxious situation. I will be okay. It's okay. You have to talk to ourselves like that. So every
Yeah.
day, we need to do that. Have positive affirmations. I love the sticky note theory, where you take those sticky notes, out of sight, out of mind. So we have to remind ourselves constantly to be positive. So I'll have a sticky note somewhere on the wall in every room that I'm going into
Yeah.
that morning, to remind myself I'm going to be okay. You are resilient. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. Your hair doesn't make you, even when that mask that messed it up. I said, they don't want us to, the PPE won't let us be great. They won't let us look good. I was like, I had curls yesterday. What happened? So you look, hey, it's real, but I'm alive to talk about it and laugh about it. And
Yeah.
I'll pick up my PPE and I'll be doing it again tomorrow.
Amen to that. As a matter of fact, Janice Bill from Texas, you know, where it can be hot down there, she said, amen to that. Well, look, I don't know if there's anything, any questions. I put it out there, everyone. So any questions or comments that you have for Chere here, and anything that I haven't asked or talked about that you would like to bring to life for us, Chere, in regards to anything that we need to know as we wrap up our time. Anything that you want to share or give, you know?
Yeah, I would definitely say as the different cities and counties start to lift the restrictions, please be sensible. So don't just think, okay, they've been lifted, I'm going willy-nilly, I'm going to run out, I'm gonna go party, I'm gonna do this. Be sensible. This virus is far, far from over. And then they're even talking about there being a second round of it in the wintertime.
Right.
So be sensible, people. Like, yes, wear your mask, still do your 6 feet distancing. If you really don't have to be out, don't go out, stay home. Honestly, it's the safest place for you. Your body has already adapted to your environment of being at home. So don't just go out just because. It's not worth your life. And then, you know, because if you catch COVID-19, guess what? You're gonna be wanting all the pity in the world when you could have just stayed your butt at home. So wear your mask, wash your hands, do all those things they told us. But if you really don't have to be out, don't just go out just merely because it's gonna be 85 degrees this weekend in Maryland. Because they're lifting some of our restrictions, and so just don't be a hardhead. Like, listen, this thing is far from over. We just had 700 some new cases overnight, so that tells you right there it's not over. I think they're just saying, you know what, we're just going to lift it because the economy's so bad. So that's not a good way. But
right,
be
especially
sensible.
when we were said that we had to wait until, you know, to see it flatten, or we had to
Yep.
wait until, you know, vaccines and, you know, tests and everything. And it's just like we're doing it prematurely,
Yes.
you
Yep.
know, to me. And we still just don't know how are we getting out of this. And then, like you said,
Right.
the strong possibility of it being another round, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that I totally agree with you. It's just about, like you said, being sensible and being
Yes.
wise and being smart. And at the end of the day, it will absolutely save your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, look, thank you so much. You know, you
Thank
did
you.
such a great job that there are no questions or comments out there, but I definitely want to give you the floor. Is there anything that you would like to leave with? Like, how do we get in contact with you? Do you have any services or offerings? You know, anything that help us?
Absolutely. So I can be reached on all your social media sites at Chere M Goode, or Dr. Chere M Goode, either one. I had to change some of those up already. and then my website is totalharmonyenterprises.com. Also, just for some helpful cooking tips and some other spills, to just hear some advice on how to take care of yourself, visit my YouTube channel at Chere M Goode, and you can watch some more encouraging, positive, uplifting information like this webinar that Dr. Sarah has put together for us.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been following your cooking now. See, I'm not out there, but you know, I can cook. I can burn. But I'm a career woman, and you understand my story, you know, it's like we're here ahead of time. But it's like I definitely look at your cooking show, you know, she'd be in there, everybody, she's just like, you know, putting spices, and you know, sometimes I think mom come over and she'll have her mom taste the food to make sure that you know, and it's like, I'm like, go ahead, Chere, keep doing that thing. It's like, what do you not do? You know, you're an entrepreneur, as a nurse, as a doctor now, as, you know, wellness coach. It's like, Lord have mercy. We got to keep up with her, everybody. So you're setting an example. And
look, we only get one life to live. We have to tap into all of our potential, right? We have to. We're gonna try to tap into everything that every potential talent that we have. I challenge everybody, tap into it. If you're doing that, you don't have time for negativity.
Amen. Amen to that. Come on now. See, she's about to have us now she's talking like a priest now. Now about to pass collection for everybody. Cash that. All right. Well, look, thank you so much, Dr. Chere.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. Thank you for just being a frontliner. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a cousin. Thank you for just, you know, just being you. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having this platform, because it's much needed.
Absolutely.